All right, guys, Jameson and Alex here. Today we're going to be talking about the updates to the Way of the Cobalt Soul Monk and the Oath of the Sea Paladin, both of which were featured on D&D Beyond, which have had some slight changes, updates, clarifications added to them in the new Taldorei Reborn book, which was just released from Matthew Mercer, of course, Critical Role. And yes, we're going to go over those, go over the changes, and if there's any changes to the scores or anything that we feel warranted, which we'll get to that. But yeah, keep it short and sweet. Make sure you check out our original videos on these two. Just going to throw that out there up front.
Much more in-depth analysis words of what all the abilities are and everything, because the reason why we're pairing these two together in one video, because there's not a lot of changes.
So don't forget, too, we have our giveaway for D&D Beyond Players Bundle. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below.
Yes.
And this video, again, is sponsored by the Seeds of Decay Kickstarter.
Yes.
Make sure you check that out. Got there. But yeah, it's featured with Hit Point Press. They're helping them create it and everything, so it's going to be quality. They have scalable monsters, campaign stuff. It's a lot of cool stuff in there, magic items, all that great stuff that you guys love. So
that's right.
Make sure you check it out. And yeah, we'll jump straight into it. So Cobalt Soul Monk. Like I said already, you're going to want to check out our original review of this because this one's basically untouched.
Yep.
I'll just quickly go over this one, and then I guess Alex here will go over. We have some new spells for the Open Sea Paladin, so that's cool.
Yes.
So but with the Cobalt Soul Monk, you have your Extract Aspects ability unchanged, completely the same as when it was released on D&D Beyond, and we reviewed it last time.
Yep.
Extort Truth, the next ability you get, it does have one added effect, which is you can now impose the effect without dealing damage. Before it was you had to deal damage,
right? But
then sometimes you want to base it. It was essentially Zone of Truth.
Yeah.
But when you're in an interrogation situation or certain circumstances, you might not want to deal damage because it might go poorly.
Right, and it also might instigate combat when you're not trying to go full into combat instead of just like question somebody.
Yeah, so now you have the ability to do it without initiating physical violence.
Which is a small change, but a mechanical change, I think that's necessary there.
And then Mystical Erudition has no changes to it. Mind of Mercury, they did add a clarification on here that you can only use one reaction per trigger.
Right.
Which that was the intended writing initially, but they didn't have the clarification on there, so people were trying to get multiple extra reactions, which that's not how it works. It's supposed to just be one extra reaction.
Right.
So that just added a clarification for the DMs primarily to
be like, what? Yeah.
And then lastly, the Debilitating Barrage. There was clarification added that if a creature has resistances, when you give them vulnerabilities, it doesn't actually go from resistance to vulnerability. It just goes from resistance to normal damage.
Right.
So it's kind of a nerf, but if you were in the way most things work,
it logically makes sense. Right. Is really what it is.
Looking like from a DM's perspective, with most of these abilities where you like reduce resistances or they gain vulnerabilities, it usually just knocks it down one peg.
Yeah.
So most DMs, I feel like, would already have ruled it that way anyways.
Yeah.
Where you just knock it down a peg and not just go from resistant to
now,
vulnerable.
Yeah, because that's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, those are all the changes. Pretty much just clarifications on everything, and then that one little thing.
The extra choice on the Extort Truth option.
So all that being said, we didn't think that any of these changes warranted any change to our original scores. Yeah. So make sure you go back and watch our Cobalt Soul Monk video. I'll put a link down below so you can get to that or have it up above somewhere. Yep. So you can watch the original. And just keep in mind these changes or clarifications when you watch that.
Yeah, it's a general flavor thing. If you haven't seen the original video, it kind of feels like an Inquisitor style, monk. You're all about information and things like that. It's a very cool and unique, different way you think of playing a monk. But yeah, not a significant amount of changes from the original version.
Yes.
Oath of the Open Sea Paladin. Not a ton of significant changes here either. The two biggest changes are a couple of these spell changes out. It removes a couple of spells you had access to before, took away a couple of the older spells you had access to, a Tidal Wave and Maelstrom, and replaced it with actually two brand new spells. Yeah. So those are as follows. You have the Freedom of the Wave spell. It's a level 3 spell, 1 action, 120-foot range, instantaneous duration. You conjure a deluge of seawater. Matt Arthur has fun words I like. Hard to pronounce at times. In a 50-foot radius, 15. I thought I said, almost like it sounded. I said 50 there. 15-foot radius and a 10-foot tall cylinder centered on a point within the range. Water takes the form of a tidal wave, whirlpool, water spout, any other form of your choice for flavor purposes. Each creature in the area must succeed on a strength saving throw against your spell save DC or take 2d8 bludgeoning damage and fall prone. You can choose any number of creatures equal to your spellcasting modifier to automatically succeed the saving throw, which is a cool effect because it lets you, pop it underneath your own teammates and not be affected by it automatically, which is great. Here's the other fun part about it, which I really, really like. If you are within the spell's area yourself, as part of the action you use to cast a spell, you can vanish into the deluge and teleport to an occupied space you can see within the spell's area, which is a big area. I mean, it's a pretty good size area. 30-foot diameter you can move around in, essentially.
Free disengage.
It's a free disengage, and you're knocking somebody on their butt, hopefully, and giving them damage as part of it, so you can get you out of trouble. The other spell is Freedom of the Winds, which is a level 5 spell. Casting time of 1 action, a range of self, and its concentration up to 10 minutes. You gain a flying speed of 60 feet, so flying paladins. Wonderful. Additionally, you have advantage on ability checks to avoid being grappled and on saving throws against being restrained or paralyzed. When you are targeted by a spell or attack while the spell is in effect, you can use a reaction to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. If this movement takes you out of range of the triggering spell or attack, you are unaffected by it. This spell then ends when you reappear. So essentially, you've got flying speed and resistance to crowd control.
Yep.
And you've got a little immediate teleport disengage as a reaction to getting popped by a big attack or a spell if you so choose. But
so some more mobility options for Paladin, which are always warranted because they're one of the martial classes that kind of struggle a little bit. They do have some spells, but it gives them a little bit more mobility on the battlefield.
They're definitely not barbarian or monk in terms of being able to get around the battlefield.
Right, they have a little bit.
Yeah. More. So it very much leans into the theme already of what this Paladin does. This is by far the most mobile Paladin I think in existence. But yeah, a couple of new spells that I think are very, very great flavor-wise, make sense, and they got some cool, unique effects that you don't see from a lot of other spells.
Right. And then looking at their other abilities on here, the Channel Divinity options had no changes made to them. The Aura of Liberation had no changes made to it. The Stormy Waters had no changes made to it. But the Capstone ability, the Mythic Swashbuckler, did have some would say significant changes.
It's a significant change.
It is significant. I would say significant.
For sure.
There is one thing that was added, which is if you already have a climbing speed, it's now doubled. That was not originally part of it, which it's nice to have some extra climbing speed, sure.
Because when that climbing speed doesn't come up a ton, but when it does and you want to have it, doubling it climbing speed is part of what you get, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then the big thing that probably a lot of people are going to be sad about is the dodge as a bonus action is gone, which it was broken. I mean, let's be honest, that was ridiculous.
A paladin with dodge as a bonus action.
Anyone with dodge as a bonus action is insane.
Yeah.
That's just so good. But they did replace it. Now you can dash or disengage with a bonus action.
Which, to me, fits more flavorfully with... Flavorfully?
Flavorfully, yeah.
Flavorfully?
Falafely.
Yeah, falafely, that's it. With what the class is built around, again, that mobility, getting around the battlefield, it fits in much more smoothly with what's going on.
Right. And I think one thing to keep in mind with that as well is with your Channel Divinity option, with the fog, you're already going to have, obscured, so it's kind of redundant, I guess, to have dodge and be obscured. I mean, you're already at disadvantage when you're heavily obscured. Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's really not that much of a detriment because you just use your Channel Divinity with your capstone, and then you're fine. You know,
it's fine.
Anyways, so it's not that big a deal. Well, I keep saying it's not, but it is. Yeah. I mean, dodge's bonus action is insane.
But they didn't just take it out altogether. They swapped it out for...
You got something from it.
You lost some defensive, essentially, because dodge is a bonus action. It's really, really good. But you do have the ability to get in and out of trouble with dash and disengage as a bonus action, which is great because, again, as a primarily... Technically, you can build a range attacking paladin. It might be kind of fun to do that. But in the general sense of how paladins are played, you're in the mix of things. You're meleeing with some sword and board, or two-handed weapon. So being able to dash to get to somebody so you can make sure you're getting your multi-attacks in on something every turn. Because there's fewer things, I think, more frustrating than not being able just to do anything. Because if you're a martial class and all you've got is melee weapons, it's you're spending your whole turn I had to dash my action just to get to something so I can hit it on my next turn.
Right. It does get a little frustrating.
Feels bad.
You don't have ranged options.
Feels real bad.
But looking at all the changes on here, with the change of the dodge as a bonus action being gone, but the new introduction.
Us and words today. It's
the new introduction.
It's a Monday we're recording this, so just let it go.
So with the new spells, counteracted with the buff nerf to the capstone. We just called it a net even break.
Yeah.
So we actually didn't change any scores on this as well. So again, if you want to know our scores and the details of all of the abilities, make sure you check out the other video for that. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
But we want to make sure you guys knew our thoughts on the little changes and rewordings that were here, but this was definitely going to be the shortest and easiest one of all these, because the rest of them either are new subclasses from this book or are much more significant changes, a la Runechild Sorcerer. That's going to be fun.
Yes.
That's
so
a
stay tuned
huge
for that
change.
one. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Make sure you check out the sponsors, Seeds of Decay Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Make sure you check them out. Support them. Support us. It's definitely worth at least a look. Make sure you click the link down below to check them out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.